In the second part of our series, Eastern Front Air Power, we document 24 hours in the professional life of the air warriors of Indian Air Force Station Tezpur in the Eastern Air Command. On arriving at the Indian Air Force Station Tezpur in Assam in the early evening, the Strat News Global team heads straight for the Sukhoi 30 MKIs based at the station. The aircraft are being prepared for operational sorties the next morning. Every screw is being literally checked by the engineers, technicians and maintenance crew.
Su-30 MKI is a complex machine. There are a lot of systems integrated in this machine along with the state-of-the-art avionics. This aircraft has the capability to carry air-to-air and air-to-ground missiles, bombs, gun, as well as various types of payloads. Indian Air Force, being one of the premier air forces in the world, it is the utmost requirement to be operationally ready to tackle any type of contingency put forward. This requires an intense amount of flying effort, which in turn requires an intense amount of maintenance activities to be undertaken on these aircraft. We ensure the availability of these aircraft 24/7, all weather conditions for any type of mission available.
That availability is being ensured even though the evening is quickly giving way to night. In 1942, during the Second World War, the Royal Indian Air Force built a runway at Tezpur. It was used by the United States as a B-24 Liberator heavy bomber base. After the war, it was converted into an Indian Air Force base in 1959. The MiG Operational Flying Training Unit, MOF2, was formed in December 1986 at Tezpur. But since 2014, it is home to two squadrons flying Sukhoi MKIs, the number 106 Lynxes and the number 2 Winged Arrows.
If you see all the airfields in the east of the Chicken's Neck, starting from Bagdogra, Guwahati, then Tezpur, then Chabwa, then Dinjan and what have you, they are all along at a distance of about between anything from 150 to 200 kilometers from the line of actual control. And Tezpur is the center of all this chain of airfields which are there. And the roles obviously is to defend in case of any likely intrusions during the peacetime, and for other occasions we have plans in place using all the airfields. So Tezpur will always remain a fighter base and an important fighter base where other types of aircraft are also required to operate from them there to enhance the potential of the Eastern Air Command as such.
The helicopter fleets enhance that potential.
We operate from the icy heights of Arunachal in the north to the dense jungles of Mizoram in the south, in northeast India for particular, and everything else that is there in between. So when you fly in such a varied AOR, you need to be able to switch over from one aspect to other very quickly. At the icy heights, you have to be very, very skillful in handling the aircraft, and while operating in the jungles, you need to be constantly updating yourself with the information, maintain your situational awareness to cater for any contingency that may arise during flying, to execute the missions safely and recover safely back at home.
Though eagerly anticipating one of those missions, the Sukhois flying the next morning, we are disappointed there are no night ops planned for the fighter jets. But Lady Luck smiles on us. We are told the IAF's workhorse, the AN-32, will be flying in and out with some cargo. The runway's twinkling lights beckon the transport aircraft. The pitch black night turns into day with the tarmac lights turned on to help unloading the aircraft. The high placement of the AN-32's engine nacelles above the wing give her larger diameter propellers, which after the standard checks are soon all set for the return flight. A night landing and takeoff controlled and coordinated closely by air traffic controllers.
Our main role is to coordinate aircraft operations to ensure safety and avoid collision, hazard, accident on ground as well as in the air. And for this, we have to maintain situational awareness and be proactive and mentally alert. As being an ATCO can be very stressful due to heavy workload and high consequence environment. So we train ourselves to channelize our energies and focus to create an incident-free environment, as this is one area where there is zero scope for errors.
The Tezpur station may be known as a fighter base, but has other equally critical wings of the Air Force.
We are ever ready to face any of the challenges which are imposed due to any humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. And in fact, in the past recent years, we were forefront in providing assistance in case of Assam floods and even the other ropeway case that happened in 2022. Last but not the least, whenever fighter operations are in progress, we are responsible to provide search and rescue cover for them.
We've already had a hectic few hours of filming and call it a night before an early start the next morning.
Kaam khatam.
But it's 24/7/365 for the Eastern Air Command, EAC, which is headquartered in Shillong, Meghalaya. It is responsible for safeguarding enormous airspace over the northeastern states and part of the Bay of Bengal, covering over 3 lakh square kilometers, 11 states, and 6,300 kilometer long international boundaries with Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Bangladesh, and most importantly, China-occupied Tibet and the LAC in Arunachal Pradesh.
There are places where the group of soldiers takes as much as 17 days to reach that LOC. Now, this 17 days is not from the main airfields, but we have created something known as advanced landing grounds, where initially the requirement was not much, so the helicopters could go and operate from there. But now, with what our friends across developing their infrastructure, we need to have more presence. So, all along there are about 8 ALGs and 7 more are in the process of making.
Among others, the Eastern Air Command deals with China's PLAF airfields in Hoping, Konkajong, Golmud, Linji, Pangta and Chengdu.
They come, they fly about 30 kilometers, 40 kilometers in their own territory, and they fly sufficiently high for many of our radars to have them picked up. We pick them up and as a response, just to tell them that yes, we know you are there. We have had couple of times when scrambles have taken place, and they have also gone and neither did we cross nor did they cross. That sanctity is being maintained, But at the same time, the presence is also being shown to them to show that yes, we have seen you and we have monitored your coming close, but they have never violated this airspace, and nor have we. But these one-odd scrambles does happen.
But despite a substantial numerical and technical differential between the PLAF and IAF, India has the aerial advantage because of what is often called the tyranny of geography.
Altitude of operation plays a major role, in which case in this as far as we are concerned, we are fortunate. All our airfields are at altitudes which are starting from 300 to about 800 meters, and which are comfortable for us to carry more load. But as far as PLAF aircraft is concerned, the aircraft can take off, but it has its limitations, and because it has its limitations, we intend to cash in on the fact that we are in an advantageous position in terms of taking on any misadventures anyone wants to do.
Early the next morning, we are allowed to attend a non-confidential briefing for the pilots.
Jai Hind officers, Air Traffic Services briefing for day flying. 6 aircraft type Rafales from Hashimara, 4 aircraft type Su-30s from Jorhat. Hashimara, alternate ATC operations in progress. ATC ORM score nil at 0630 hours.
Satellite imagery at 0542 indicates no significant convective clouds over Assam region. However, isolated convection can be seen over Meghalaya further moving eastward, and broken to overcast low clouds can be seen over entire Arunachal Pradesh region. Clouding is likely to reduce during late morning hours. However, because of moisture incursion, scattered to broken low medium clouds are expected during afternoon hours, and hence expecting light rain in hills.
Briefings done, the pilots get themselves ready for their sorties. Despite being the top guns, pilots though can't fly missions solo.
We are the eyes of the pilot once they're in the sky. Apart from that, one of the major responsibility is to guard the skies. That we do by ensuring that no aircraft or no object enters the Indian airspace without our clearance. So the way the army is sitting at the border and ensuring no intrusion happens at the Indian territory, we are also sitting in the ops room and ensuring that no one enters the Indian airspace. So we are manning the ops room 24/7, 365. Apart from that, the challenges that we face is due to the ever-emerging and evolving technology. With the weapon ranges increasing and the plethora of surface-to-air and air-to-air weapons available, it becomes utmost important for us to be updated and current.
From the hangars, we rush to the ATC, outside which we capture the first round of takeoffs. Taking advantage of the few minutes in between the two squadrons taking off, we get closer on a grassy knoll next to the runway. But even that is not close enough. While I amateurishly film some takeoffs, under Safety Officer Wing Commander V. Paliwal's wings, Rohit gets closer for the sortie takeoffs. And even closer as the Sukhois return after their mission. It's been just another sortie for these magnificent air warriors and their magnificent machines. But let's leave the final word to them.
As a fighter pilot, it is a very thrilling experience for us to be part of actual operations. Flying in the northeastern sectors and being a part of multiple exercises involving large number of aircraft of various fleets, and considering the fact of rugged terrain and the weather is actually challenging.
The hills and mountains that you see around seems very beautiful once we get airborne. However, once the weather goes bad, they are the opposite. So that is why we are trained immensely over here to fly in such adverse weathers. And what seems difficult at first becomes day-to-day routine for a fighter pilot.
In the third and last episode of Eastern Front Air Power, a detailed interview with Air Marshal D.K. Patnaik, who retired last September as the Air Officer Commanding-in-Chief of the Eastern Air Command.